Hey guys, today I'm going to be taking a look at this entry-level GPS drone by JJRC. It's the H55, also known as the Tracker, not to be confused with that Tracker Elfie. It's the JJRC Tracker. Entry-level aerial drone, aerial photography drone with GPS, and you can see here the H55, and it comes in this bluish or greenish color, I should say, and also in yellow. It's actually pretty sporty, like comparing it to a similar quad like the Hubsan Desire. This is a lot more sporty because it's got 3 rates and it has considerable amount of pitch, so I was able to fight off, a decent amount of wind, so that does really help. Now it has just a fixed 720p camera here in the front. It takes you an okay video, about what you expect for a 720p cam in this class. So it does record to an SD card, and it does not come with an SD card, so I had to provide my own. It is spring loaded, pops in there. So at least you're not going to have a bunch of drop frames or something if you're recording to your phone over Wi-Fi. It will execute a return to home, and that is the only concern I've really had so far, is this return to home accuracy. My first test flight, it was very well within range, 6 feet or so at most, using my tarmac, and for a little brush GPS drone, that's well within the buffer zone of acceptability. But the second time I flew it, it was landing like 15 feet off, 2 out of 3 times. So I don't know what was up with that. It was a pretty windy day, but it would land, and then it would say it's at 0 meters to home. It would land, and then once it landed, it would all of a sudden jump to like 5 or 6 meters, like it corrected itself. And I had like 17 satellites, so it wasn't like I had low GPS accuracy. It actually gets quite a nice satellite count, which shows up in the Wi-Fi app that connects to it. You do have to do a compass calibration every time you fly it. It doesn't like tell you in the app, but if you don't, it just simply won't let you unlock the motors and take off. So that's something that you need to be mindful of. The battery goes here in the back. I use the red JST connector. I don't think there's any USB port in this one to do any kind of upgrades like the Hubsan comes with. The battery it uses here is at 610, kind of an odd milliamp, 2S LiPo 20C, and this takes about 2 hours to charge with the provided charger. Though you can obviously, with these standard connectors to the balance port, you can use a hobby grade, which is what I use, so I can charge it up faster. The provided charger is here in this bag. It's just a USB with the balance port, so like I said, it takes about 2 hours. You also get extra props and a screwdriver for repairs. The flight time on this is about 7 minutes. It's not really long because the battery's not a huge capacity. It mentions you could get 10 minutes flight time out of it, but at 20% battery, it's going to execute a return to home. So they basically say if you didn't have the return to home, you get 10 minutes. I don't know why they tell you that, because you can't disable that. If you're out far enough away, it will rise to, I believe, 30 meters, and it will fly back, and then it will land. The last time I flew it, I was, I guess, too close because it just flew over at the height I had it, and then it tried to find home and land. Like I said, it was not real accurate. First time I had it down my street, and it went up 30 meters and flew over, and it landed pretty accurately. So we'll have to see here in the test flight how accurate the return to home, how well that works. The controller it comes with is pretty nice, and it's not like a goofy Bluetooth one like the new Hubsan Desire Pro uses. You can fly this thing, I believe, without having to use the app at all. You're just not going to have any satellite counts or anything like that. So to do a compass calibration, you're going to press on this button. I think you'd long press it, and the lights will blink or something. You have to do a couple counterclockwise rotations here, horizontal, and then you do several counterclockwise rotations with the nose up until the lights go solid, and it tells you that the compass calibration is incomplete. I believe it beeps. It'll beep when you're done with the horizontal, and then once you're done doing the vertical, it'll beep again. That tells you that the calibration is complete. You got a motor kill button if you need to just, if you're going to hit a tree or you got a problem, emergency stop. This is your start motors and your land. when you start the motors, then you have to actually manually take off. It does not do an auto takeoff, which is a bit odd for a GPS drone, but it does do an auto landing. And this is your photo, your photo and your video buttons over here, if you want to use them. So it's actually, I believe it's these two here, the photo and video. This one I don't think does anything. Here's your trims. Obviously it's got altitude hold. Your 3 speed rates is up here in the top, and this is how you execute a return to home by pressing the top right button. So I think that kind of covers everything. There's not a whole lot to cover. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the app. The app is the JJRC tracker app here, and I'll try to do a screen record of this so you can see. It shows you your sat count, satellite count, your height and your distance from home, and video recording there, and the timer shows you how long you've been recording. So this is actually a pretty nice app. I really do like it. I like that it gives you a lot of telemetry information. Also, I believe the instructions mentioned if you need to do a gyro calibration, you're going to do both sticks down and in till the lights are done flashing. So if it's kind of flying a little erratic, or it's not like it's wanting to be level on you, do that gyro calibration. But you shouldn't have to do that every flight. The only one you have to do every flight is here, the compass calibration. All right, well, I think that covers everything here, so we'll move along now for the flight review. All right, guys, I have the JJRC H55 tracker, this little GPS drone on my tarmac here. I got it bound up with the JJRC app, and I'm doing a screen recording here, so I'll start out with the screen recording, and then we'll go over to some either dual footage or just a single footage of the flight footage from the SD card. Now, one thing I forgot to mention at the table was this actually connects at 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, which is really nice, because then you're not going to get any interference between the 2.4 gigahertz controller and your typical standard 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So the 5 gigahertz, you won't get any interference. There's also more bandwidth on 5 gigahertz, so that's going to be helpful for your FPV feed, and there may be a little bit less latency. So let's go ahead and we'll start recording. Now, I did do the compass calibration. I already went ahead and did that. It's very simple, and there's no need to include that in the review. Very simple. Just beeps every time and stops flashing, and you go to the next horizontal and vertical. So let's go ahead and start recording some onboard footage to the SD card. Let's go ahead and do start motors. Let's go ahead and take it up. See how it holds position. Let's back up here. Looks pretty good. And today's a really calm day, very light breeze, so that's going to help. Look at that. Very stable. That's the lowest rate. Let's go into the intermediate rate. See, it's a little sportier. And you see, when you let up on the sticks, it doesn't break extremely well, so it has to kind of fly back to find its spot where you left off on the sticks. And let's go to the highest rate. Y'all seems to be about the same, but it's a little bit more sporty, you can see. Now, I said it feels a little bit loose because of that lack of braking. And that's something that I intended to mention earlier. It just feels funny whenever you let off the sticks and it has to kind of try to find its GPS location that it marked. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's not like it's malfunction or anything. It's just a little bit loose feeling, a little squirrely, I guess you could say. Let's take it up here and try to get some footage here, see how it holds. So when you're flying, I'm going to put it like in the second rate because today is not very windy. If you're flying it just casually, you're not going to encounter any problem like that. Let's just see how the 720p footage looks here. It's drifting a little bitty bit on me, but very little. I could be pushing a little while I'm yawing on the stick too. But see, let's go fast and let off and then see that? And now it's going to fly back and kind of try to find its position. So when you first fly, you're like, man, this thing is like, what is it doing? And then you get the idea what's going on, and then you'll see that it's just flying back to maintain its position. I've got 20 satellites. That's really good. FPV feed looks pretty nice. Not a ton of latency. I'm up about 24 meters, and it says I'm up 13 meters. I thought it was 30 meters on return to home, but maybe it was 20. 30 seems awfully high, but it might have been. I've got 40% battery, it says, so yeah, it does. The flight time is not super long. You can get a bigger battery in this. The Hubsan Desire battery is the same size, as long as you don't fly or charge it all the way up, since it's a lithium high voltage. I don't know if those extra 0.2 of a volt would hurt it or not. Let's see, there it's kind of flying around, now it finds a spot and it stops. So it's, like I said, not a big deal to me because I know what it's doing. But the first time I flew it, it did kind of freak me out for a moment because I thought it was getting erratic. Let's do a return to home here. Now it's going to fly up 20, oh, yeah, 30 meters. I was right. It just seemed like that was kind of high there when I got it out here. Now it's going to fly over, and let's see how well it lands. So we don't have a ton of flight time left. By the time this lands, we take it up, again, it's probably going to hit the 20% low voltage and come back. It's really high up there overhead, so I'm hoping that this is going to get into the overhead footage. I gotta look straight over my head here, so I apologize. Let's see how accurate it is coming down. And now it's starting to descend. We got it coming down 26, 25. It says it's 0 meters from its home distance on the mark, so you can see it is not going to be super accurate today. I just want to make sure it doesn't land on my mailbox here. It looks like it's going to be okay. So yeah, you know, that's not that's not super good. That's not as bad as it was doing on me the last time I took it out, but that's pretty far off. That's outside of the distance of acceptability, in my opinion. So go ahead and save that video, and we'll go ahead and start recording again. And go ahead and start the motors and take it up. I said, just sitting right here, I mean, it's holding position really nice. I'm going to take it out here. Now you can do waypoints in the app and stuff like that. I'm not going to mess with that, partially because I just don't have the flight time. You'd almost need 2 batteries to demonstrate all the things that it's advertised as being able to do. I'm going to fly it up over here, maybe down the street, and I was noticing some lag, especially as I got farther out. The feed became a bit choppy. The screen froze for a minute. Again, even though it's on 5 gigahertz, you're still going to have that on these Wi-Fi FPV. All right, we got bottom voltage, so see, now it's going to shoot up. Now it says 20% battery. We got bottom voltage. It usually hits it a little early at 23, and now at 18, and it's executing this return home. I'll go ahead and stop recording footage because there's really no point now. The onboard footage. So as you can see, not a super long flight time. We're probably, 6-7 minutes. I don't know exactly what that was. But if you use a hobby grade charger, I had, charging at 1.2 amps at 2C. It only took maybe a half an hour. I don't know, it didn't take long to charge it. But if you use a stock charger, yeah, you're gonna, I would invest in extra batteries. Let's see, pretty close to where it took off before. Well, where it landed before, I should say. All right, and of course it stops beeping once it lands. Now when I took off, I had 16 satellites, so I had a good sat lock. So it's not like it had a bad mark on its home position here. But as you can see, that's probably 8 to 10 feet here, so not super accurate. Other day when I did it, it was better. I don't know why, but this is a very calm day today, so I would expect better accuracy. So overall, you know, what bothers me the most about this is its poor GPS accuracy landing. It's stability and holding position when you let off, just take it up and let it hold is very nice. But it's also a little loose when it has to fly back to its location when you let off the sticks. But then again, that's not a big deal to me as long as you're just being careful and paying attention. My biggest gripe is just return to home accuracy is a little off. So you just want to make sure that you pay attention and correct it if it's going to come down, you know, and land on something, because it should have been within, you know, 5 or 6 feet at the most on a day like today. So overall, it's a decent little introductory GPS drone. I can't say it's terrible, but I would expect a little better accuracy on the GPS return to home. You know, and it'd be nice if it was a little. I think just the flying backwards and stuff is partially because it's such an aggressive little flyer. That I really don't have a big problem with, because I think that's kind of to be expected on these little quad with brushless motors like this. So I think that should wrap everything up here. I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen recording. That was close to 10 minutes of screen recording there. And I think, like I said, overall, you know, a decent little drone. So purchase link in the description if you are interested in this, and hope to have some more stuff coming. It's kind of slow now with the Chinese New Year's just ending, so we don't have a whole, I don't have maybe one thing to review at the moment. So it may be a little slow on the channel for a little bit. So hope you guys have a good day, and see you soon.
The power of the dark side.